Okay, in this section we're going to learn some tricks to jazz up our playing a little bit. Now, what I mean by that, let's just sort of look or review at some of the material we've done so far. Going back to the first section, we talked about the A-flat major scale and then using the relative minor pentatonic as a kind of skeleton for us to see and help us look at the scale shapes. I'm sure you remember that. We looked at the F minor pentatonic and then added the two notes to make up the F minor scale. Also, it's a A-flat major scale as well. Now, it's all very well playing this stuff, and I do recommend that you just kind of try and find your way around the chords as quickly as you can. But once you've done that, then to make it sound stylistically correct, as I should say, we need to learn a few jazzy tricks that we can do there. And we don't have to know a whole bunch of weird scales in order to do that. We can actually take some regular stuff and make it sound really nice. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples here. One of the things I like to do quite a lot, for example, is if we go to position 4 of F minor pentatonic, and I'm using that to play around those first two chords that we got there. If you remember, it was the 6, then the 2. Okay. Now, one of the things I'll do there is I'll go chromatically up from one scale tone to another. In this case, it's going to go C to E flat. Then I'll go behind the first note, do an approach tone, and then I'll land on that A flat there, which is the 3rd of F minor 7 and the 7th of B flat 7. Okay? So quite a nice, effective way of playing a little lick. Another thing that you can do is find a chord tone, for example, again, A flat, and then maybe go say like 2 above it and 1 below it. Now that's in the scale, that note's in the scale, and that note's in the scale, but that isn't. And just doing that little trick there. So if we add that to what we just did, and you can see, you've got a nice little trick there. Another way you can do is take, say for example, a little partial chord of the scale, say like a little part of that C minor arpeggio there, and then just move it down in semitones until you hit the C. So now, and that's another little way that you can make things sound jazzy. Approach tones are always great. Anything you're using, whether it's a scale tone or a chord tone, using those little approach tones are great. Basically, when you're soloing, the 3 choices you have is scale, arpeggio, and chromaticism, or tense notes. So what you want to do is when you're coming to a particular position, you don't want to play all arpeggio, and you don't want to play all scale, and you don't want to play all chromaticism. What you want to do is just mix them up a little bit. So if we were playing in position 2 of the F minor pentatonic for that A flat, for example, we might play a C minor arpeggio, which is the 3rd of A flat, come down chromatically, maybe a bit of scale, and then maybe we could finish off by surrounding one of the chord tones above and below. And that's another really neat jazz trick where people will just go above a scale tone or a chord tone, then below it, and they'll do it like that. So what I said there, C minor arpeggio, and then maybe resolve to the A flat. And that's a really nice way. So basically what I'm trying to say is that when we're playing, we have a little bit of scale, a little bit of arpeggio, and a little bit of chromaticism. In this case, say for example, not forgetting the approach tones, up in this F minor again, we can play a C minor arpeggio over that. It's best to just try out the arpeggios and see which ones that you like. And you see what I did there? I played a C minor arpeggio, just approaching from a semitone below. Down chromatically, bit of scale, just chromatically down like we said before. And it's basically using all those type of things that make it sound nice. If we go up to the octave of the first position, we can do another example where we're going, say we take this G note here, which is what we call the ninth. We can, or it's a major 7 if we're thinking in A flat. We can go 1 note above it and 2 below it. Can you see what I'm saying? So a little bit of scale, a little bit of arpeggio, a little bit of chromaticism, and then you're going to get a nice jazzy twist on the thing. You don't want to have, I mean, people do bend in jazz occasionally, but you don't want too much going on, or it's not going to sound stylistically correct. Now, just another trick to give you a little bit more information on that, the sound, okay? Normally front pickup, for Strat players, same thing, front pickup, and then get the tone and turn it back about halfway. Then you'll find you'll get this kind of a nice little sound. I mean, I'm not using a sort of a classic jazz guitar, but for most people who've just got regular electric guitars, I mean, this is quite a nice guitar, obviously. The trick is front pickup, tone back to your, you know, basically to your desired taste, and it just takes that edge off it and makes it sound that little bit more jazzy.